Perfect. Thank you. Welcome. Good morning, everybody. It is 10:01 a.m. Welcome and thank you for joining us today with our age-friendly community grants, our info session. We've got a number of participants that I can see online here, about 41 people viewing at the moment. So we will just get started here just in a second. But first of all, like I said, welcome. And we'll maybe just go on to the next slide if we could, please. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Vanessa Manuel. I am the Executive Director here at BC Healthy Communities, and I'm really happy to be joining you all today. And this is actually my first Age-Friendly Communities grant cycle. So I'm happy to be involved in this. Today, I'm joined by two of my colleagues. We have Alyssa Roerich, who is the Age-Friendly Community Delivery Lead, as well as Laura Chambers, who is our Grants and Engagement Coordinator, both with our team, of course, at BC Healthy Communities. So we're pleased to connect with everybody this morning to share some of the details about our AFC grants that are available for local and Indigenous governments. We'll do our best to answer questions about the 2026 application process, and we're also hoping to get a sense of what communities are looking for and who might be looking to apply. So, we've got a few slides and everything that we'll be going through with folks here to begin with, trying to give that background information and everything, some of those processes and timelines. And then from there, we will have a moderated question and answer session. But before we go any further, we'll just get the next slide, please. I just want to take a moment to recognize and acknowledge that us here at BC Healthy Communities would like to acknowledge the traditional territories of the Lekwungen peoples, including the Wasonic, Songhees, and Esquimalt nations. Their ongoing historical relationship of Indigenous peoples with the land is recognized, emphasizing that these relationships are not simply historical, but they continue to this day. The First Peoples have been here since time immemorial, and their history in this area is long and rich. So if you would like to take a moment to, I don't believe we have a chat feature enabled, but reflecting maybe just for a moment or two yourself where you may be joining us from today and the traditional territories. So Erica, next slide, please. So I'll just go over a little bit about what we can expect today with this session. So we are planning to take about 30 to 40 minutes to go through our slides. Again, like I was saying, set some of that background information, hopefully answer some of those questions about logistics, timing, and some of the policies and things like that in terms of the Age-Friendly Communities grants. And then we also invite you to stay on for a final 15, 20 minutes or so for a question and answer session in which we'll be asking folks to please use the Q&A box that should be available within your webinar system here, or Microsoft webinar system. Myself and my colleagues, we've got a number of us in the background today, but we'll be looking for those questions, taking note of those, and I'll be moderating them at the end with Alyssa and Laura. And again, just a couple more housekeeping things. Just a reminder that we are recording this session and it will be up on our website as well as our YouTube site. So folks that have registered for this session will receive a link to the recording via email to share with any potential partners or to re-review yourselves. Another thing with technology, we do kindly request that folks do not use their own AI recorders. As I mentioned, we are already recording a session and we will make it available. So if you do have an AI recorder that follows you into these sessions, if you could please disable that, or we'll be going through as well afterwards and filtering those out. And again, like I said, using that question and answer function, please post your questions in there. It will just make it a little bit easier for us to respond at the end of the formal presentation. And if we do run out of time, we will follow up with any final questions by email, or you're welcome, of course, to reach out to us as well. And as I mentioned, there are a number of us from BC Healthy Communities online behind the scenes, other than, of course, Lo and Alyssa, who you're going to be hearing from here next. But we also have Erica, who's running the slides for me, Gurmeet and Stephanie, who are supporting with tech, additional links, and following those questions and answers as well. So we'll be adding some of those links and resources into the chat function as we go along. And next slide, please. Thank you. So just before I hand it over to Alyssa here, I just want to start with a little bit of a background about BC Healthy Communities. Since 2005, BC Healthy Communities has been operating throughout the province with several different programs. And in 2012, BC Healthy Communities did become a not-for-profit organization that facilitates the ongoing development of healthy, thriving, and resilient communities. We provide a range of resources, programs, funding, and fee-for-service offerings that support multi-sectoral groups to collaborate around a shared vision for a common purpose. So we really operate at the intersection between planning and public health and really adjacent to governments here. So we do, of course, as you're all here today, provide grants, but we do more than just grants. We do like to make sure that we're promoting knowledge exchange and translation, support for communities, capacity building and bridging, additional resources and what have you. So if your community does end up working with us in one of the grants, you get not only the grant funding, but access to our BC Health Communities resources and persons to support you throughout that process. And with that, I'm going to send the slides and the presentation over to Alyssa Rorich, our Age-Friendly Communities lead. Thanks.
Thanks, Vanessa. Hello, everyone. We're so grateful you're here today to just learn about the Age-Friendly grants. Like Vanessa said, my name is Alyssa, and I'm the Age-Friendly Program Lead. So let's get right into it. What about the Age-Friendly program here? So our Age-Friendly Communities program is intended to work alongside our grantees to help develop their capacity to create policies, plans, actions that promote age-friendly communities. The program supports partnerships across sectors for creating age-friendly communities and provides learning opportunities and leading-edge practices for collaborative and local action. Next slide. So to start, before even applying for an age-friendly program, what is an age-friendly community and what does that look like? So our ideal age-friendly community supports older adults to age in place. They help create policies and resources that provide environments for older adults to live active, socially engaged, and independent lives. A tagline that we say in the age-friendly community is age-friendly communities are from the womb to tomb. Any age-friendly action or policy or plan that you make for your community not only helps your older adults, but also helps other minorities and other groups in your communities. So this approach considers the diverse needs of older adults through all phases of community planning and policy making. So this approach is most effective when communities develop policies and services using the WHO's approach across the 8 age-friendly domains. So we'll go to the next slide. So from some of the policies and approach that I was talking about, we take these 8 domains that the WHO has used, and we have slightly modified them to be more inclusive. So some of the the 8 domains are like outdoor spaces and buildings, transportation, including road safety, housing, social well-being and participation, respect, social inclusion, and cultural safety, community engagement and employment, communications and information, and community support and health and wellness services. So that's a quick snapshot of age-friendly communities. You can find more and more in depth through our application guide and our online website. So I am now going to hand it over to Laura, who will talk about the actual grant and the application process.
Thank you, Alyssa, and thank you everyone for coming today. My role at BCHC is Grants and Engagement Coordinator. I'll be your main contact for administrative aspects of the Age-Friendly Communities grants, including the application process. Links to the grant webpage will be posted in the chat, and you can also find these anytime on the BC Healthy Communities website under funding. The Age-Friendly Communities grants offers two components to recipients. The first is cash grants, and the second is in-kind customized capacity building supports provided by BCHC staff. There are two streams of age-friendly community grants. Stream 1 is planning for completing an age-friendly assessment and developing an action plan, and Stream 2 projects for implementing components of an action plan. I'll review the eligibility criteria, the application and adjudication process, and some more details about the streams. Then I'll hand it back to Alyssa to talk about community supports and share some examples of projects we have funded in the past. This presentation will give you an overview, but we encourage you to review the application guide. This guide is available on the Age-Friendly Communities website, and a link is being posted in the chat. So the first question for any potential applicant is, of course, are we eligible? And you can see on this slide the full list of eligible applicants for both Stream 1 and Stream 2 funding through this program. If you are with a nonprofit or other community organization that is partnering with an eligible applicant, the eligible applicant would apply as the lead and list you as a partner. You can go to the next slide, please, Erica. Thank you. For Stream 1 planning grants, the funding offered is $25,000 or is up to $25,000. Planning grants support the development of a local age-friendly assessment and action plan. It can also include support for adding an age-friendly and equity lens to existing plans or policies, such as a comprehensive community plan, official community plan, a reconciliation plan, framework or agreement, or community health and wellness plans. Further examples are available in the application guide. For Stream 2 projects, funding is offered up to $15,000. This stream provides funding to carry out one or some of the actions or projects identified in the action plan during the planning phase. Typically, to be eligible for Stream 2 grant funding, applicants are required to have completed an age-friendly assessment and action plan through the Stream 1 planning grant. However, applicants can apply directly for Stream 2 projects funding if they can provide an existing age-friendly assessment and action plan that was completed in the last 10 years. There are many possibilities for projects, and Alyssa will share some past funded examples with you after this portion of the presentation. For both grant streams, the grant comes with the funding as well as supports from the BCHC team. Alyssa will describe those supports later on in the presentation. Next slide, please. So, how to apply? Applications are submitted through an online web form. The deadline to apply is March 12th at midnight Pacific time. We recommend reviewing the application guide before completing your application. It provides information about eligibility criteria and program priorities. Applications must include a project overview, budget, work plan, and formal support from council, board, or your CAO. For the project overview, the web form includes questions about proposed activities, goals, and outcomes. You will also be asked how the project will incorporate equity and your plans for evaluating success. If you would like to prepare your answers in advance, you can download a Word copy of the application questions on the grant website. It is possible to cut and paste answers from the Word document into the application form. The application needs to include a high-level budget. The budget should include the total project cost and not just the components that will be funded by the grant. Other revenue sources, including in-kind contributions, should also be noted. For Stream 2, the project can include capital costs, such as equipment or building costs. However, only 40% of the AFC funding can be used on capital spending. The work plan, like the budget, is a high-level plan listing the major project milestones, as well as who will be taking the lead for each of those milestones. An Excel template for the budget and work plan is on the website, and you'll be asked to upload the template during the application process. We also require applicants to submit formal approval for the application. This can be a council or bound resolution or board resolution, band council resolution, a letter from your CEO or equivalent. All Stream 1 and Stream 2 applications must demonstrate a focus on one or more of the 8 domains of an age-friendly community, which Alyssa mentioned earlier, and those are also listed in the application guide. It is optional, but encouraged to include supporting documents with your application. For example, if you're working with a partner group and they provide a letter of support, please do include it. We know that internet access can be a barrier or intermittent in some communities. If using the web form to apply will not work, please contact me at grants@bchealthycommunities.ca to make alternate arrangements. Next slide, please. Okay, some tips for your application. So throughout the application guide, you'll find tips on strengthening your application. These point to features the adjudication team will consider when selecting projects. In our adjudication process, we're looking for some specific things. We're looking for proposals that use an equity lens. So is your project or plan making an age-friendly community accessible to everyone, especially those who need it most? Is your project focused on a group of older adults that has been underrepresented? Tell us how equity is incorporated into your proposal. We're looking for community-driven and flexible, so responding to the needs of the community as expressed by those who reside in the community and those affected by the ultimate policy decisions. Demonstrating meaningful partnerships. We're looking for collaboration with your health authority, groups within your community across multiple sectors. The partnerships don't need to be set up at the time of applying, but let us know who you see being part of the project team. Letters of support are not required, but include them if you have any. Partnerships are one way to make your work sustainable. If you have other ideas about how the benefits of the plan or project will extend beyond the grant year, please share those ideas. We also look to see plans for evaluation and measurement. If you will evaluate your work, please tell us. Are you going to be collecting data in surveys or consultation meetings? How are you going to record this kind of information? Tell us how that's going to work. The BCHT team are happy to discuss your proposal with you. Feel free to request a consultation about your proposal. You can email me your questions at grants@bchealthycommunities.ca. Next slide, please. So the important dates. This is a reminder of the application deadline and other key dates for grant recipients moving forward. The deadline to submit your application is March 12th. We'll notify all applicants of the results in late May, early June. For applicants that are selected, the earliest start date is July 2026, and the work must be completed by June 2027. A final report and budget is due at the end of the project in June 2027. The funding is issued in two portions, 80% at the start once the financial agreement is completed, and 20% of the award amount is held back until we receive the final report. That completes my overview of the grant administration, and now Alyssa will provide some examples of past funding recipients and about how BCHC can provide supports along with funding.
Great, thanks. Thanks, Laura. So I'm going to start off and would like to give some examples of age-friendly projects. Please keep in mind that projects can be very varied in nature and depend on the specific needs of the individual communities. So there's not one set project that's best for everybody. But some previous projects that we have funded in the past is doing a senior housing inventory and gap analysis. A project like providing a library service for homebound patrons, increasing seniors' wellness through recreation, education, and conclusion, conducting an age-friendly business initiative, or conducting a age-friendly accessibility plan, or even we just had a webinar on this, but an age-friendly emergency preparedness plan. Those are just some examples that we've recently funded. However, you can go to the website and there are some more examples and also some PDF plans that other communities have produced that you can look at for to see some examples and what other people have done. So not only does BCHC have the cash grants, but we also provide in-kind capacity building supports. So that looks like, at first, if you are a recipient of our grants, all grant recipients participate in an onboarding call where we introduce ourselves and talk about how BC Healthy Communities can support you in achieving your project goals. So our role to support your community and building capacity may look like supporting your evaluation strategies, sharing resources developed by us, BC Healthy Communities, and others. We can help design an engagement strategy. We could also coach and advise on specific areas such as how to apply an equity lens on your work. We can also review and give any feedback on assessment and action plans or other documents that you may need. So also keep in mind the supports can look quite different depending on the municipality or local governments or Indigenous governments, what their project is and what their capacity is as well. So these are just a couple of examples of different ways that we have helped communities in the past. So you can also look to the application guide, and that gives some more examples of supports that we have given previously. So that concludes a large part of our grant information, but before we move on to the Q&A portion, I would like to talk about two big things that BCHC has going on and to offer. The next slide. So BCHC has taken on the AFC recognition program. So what is AFC recognition? So the AFC recognition program formally recognizes that communities take a meaningful action to support populations and embed age-friendly principles and planning and making a decision. So why pursue AFC recognition? It provides a provincial letter of recognition. You get an official digital seal that you can put on your work, you can put on your wall, you can advertise to your community that you have done this age-friendly work. You will be recommended for national and international recognition, and this will also give you access to provincial, national, and international networks, and it will also increase the credibility for funding and partnerships. So a great thing about how this is laid out is the work that you do in our Stream 1 and Stream 2 projects really lead you and prepare you to apply for the AFC recognition at the provincial level, and you can gain these awesome resources and networks to continue on your age-friendly work in your local governments and municipalities and Indigenous governments, because we really hope that this age-friendly work doesn't just stop with one project, but it is embedded and sustained over time, and almost a lens that you can take to do work in your community. You can find more out about the information of how to apply and what does the age-friendly recognition mean, and more, all the details that I just spoke about and more at the new webpage that you will be able to find on our website and will be linked in the chat. Next slide, please. And last little update here, we are hosting a webinar on February 25th at 1 p.m. that focuses on learning practical strategies for building inclusive, multi-sectoral partnerships in community planning. The speakers from seminar will share lessons on working respectively with Indigenous communities and authentically embedding lived experiences to policy development. We will also post the link in the chat to register for that as well, and we hope you can join us. Next slide. So this concludes the presentation portion of the session. We highly encourage you to contact us with any questions about the application process or your proposed project before the March 12th deadline. You can research Laura at grants@BC Healthy Communities. Her email is on the screen, and she will talk through, you can schedule a call with her or send her an email. Before we go into our Q&A as well, I would like to say, for those who do not have time to stay for the Q&A, we do have a survey. We would be very appreciative if you could take a few minutes of your time to complete the survey. This will allow us to improve our webinars to better serve you, and it should only take about 5 minutes at max of your time. The second thing I would like to remind is that this webinar will be recorded and sent out as a recording in a follow-up email with all of the links that we have posted in the chat today. So now I would like to enter our question and answer period. If anyone please has any questions, please do the Q&A section at the top of your bar of the webinar. I believe it's there.
Thanks, Alyssa. There was one question that has come through in the chat so far. And thank you, Stephanie, for posting all those links. Hopefully folks can see those. But as we said, those will be distributed via email when we follow up afterwards. But the first question that I have here is this an annual grant? And when might the next round be if we aren't ready to apply for this one? So I can jump in on that if you'd like. And Alyssa, Lo, feel free to jump in there here as well too. But so right now, the programs that we offer with BC Healthy Communities, so this applies to both Plan H and our age-friendly communities. Our granting cycles are in partnership with the BC Ministry of Health, and right now that is decided on an annual basis. So in terms of when we may anticipate a second round, or not a second round, it would actually be our fifth round of age-friendly grants. We will not know that until later in the year, once we're a little bit further along in the process with the ministry for the next year's worth of fiscal planning and funding. So we would hope that we would see this opportunity present again early next year in 2027, which is crazy to say, 2027, but we're not entirely sure at this point. So a bit of a vague answer there at this point. So I'm sorry I can't provide more clarity, but if again you'd like any support with this grant round cycle that is open now, we still have about 6 more weeks approximately. Please reach out to Lo if you'd like to discuss any of this further. So that's grants@bchealthycommunities.ca, and that's for Laura Chambers. Okay. I have another couple questions in the chat here now. Thank you folks for popping those in. So another question here, are Indigenous development corporations eligible?
So it would, unless you are a local or Indigenous government, unfortunately, you would not be eligible. So this also kind of answers Ben's question as well, which it was asking if we've granted anything to amend SHED. So if you're a nonprofit society or community organization outside of a local government or Indigenous government, you're not eligible to be the lead applicant. You can partner with a local or Indigenous government who will submit the application and list you as a partner. So you can lead on project activities, but you would not be able to submit the application on your own. You would need to work with a local or an Indigenous government.
Thanks, Lo. Perfect. So I'm going just kind of back and forth between the Q&A section here and then the questions in the chat as well. So thank you for popping Ben's in there as well too. Actually, just maybe a clarifying question from Ben. It has to be a government organization, not a partnered nonprofit. And that's correct. The primary applicant has to be a local or Indigenous government organization, but we strongly encourage there to be partnerships as well. So if you are a nonprofit organization looking to support a program, run an age-friendly program within your communities, we highly recommend, well, we would need you to be working with your local, municipal, or Indigenous community as them to be the primary applicant within the process, but your nonprofit organization can be a partner within that. So we just need to make sure that the funding for successful grants are going to those local or Indigenous governments directly. Their partnerships with other organizations within are highly encouraged. Okay, perfect. Another question in here, and maybe Alyssa, you can speak to this. Do you need a council resolution and a letter from the CAO, or just one or the other?
One or the other. Yep.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay. And then I'm going back over to the chat. So if a project supports intergenerational programming ranging from kids to senior adults, would the age-friendly community be open to support that initiative?
Do you want me to take this one, Lo?
Yeah, go for it, Alyssa.
Okay, perfect. Yes, absolutely. So we've funded intergenerational projects in the past. However, I don't know how large your grant is or the specifics of your project, but we would suggest and our funds and the part that we have to do with your project, it focuses more on the older adults, but of course it can support the overall project as well.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so if two departments from the same municipality are applying for separate streams, does that have an impact on how the applications are considered / evaluated?
I can pick up that one. So it is very unlikely that a local government or Indigenous government would receive funding for both streams. So if you put an application in for the stream 1 and stream 2, we will take that into consideration. We'll also look at the geographic area, how many other communities are applying, but it is very unlikely for a community to receive funding for both applications for both streams.
Perfect. Thanks, Lo. Okay, and another question from the chat here. What is your demand for applications based on last year? Approximately how many applications were successful versus unsuccessful?
So we didn't have a funding, or we didn't open for applications last year. For 2024, I think we had, I don't know the number off the top of my head. I feel like we had around, maybe Alyssa, if you want to step in, do you remember how many applications we had? But it really depends on that year. So for Plan H, we did have our other funding stream. We had a record number of applications for Plan H, and we are only able to fund a certain amount. So it really depends on the number of applications we receive.
Yeah, I'll back that off of Laura there. The last grant funding cycle we had for AFC, we had upwards of like 78 applications, and you can look online at our previously past funded grants through our website, and you can look at the project titles as well, or you can even just Google past AFC, and our news releases will come up through Google and all different past projects. And the number depends on the amount that each community asks. So it varies from 24, I would say on average from 24 to 26 grants that we can normally receive. But like I said, that changes per year, but that's around what we have been able to do in the past.
Yeah, thanks, Alyssa. And I think we have been seeing a bit of an uptick of interest in general in the grant programs over this past year as well. I think it's just kind of the nature of how things are maybe so in our province right now. And then also too, we've, this is our 4th cycle of age-friendly community grants. BCHC has been around for a number of years, and we've got a really great distribution. So I think we're able to reach a number of folks in different organizations as well too. But yeah. Okay, so I've got a few more questions in here. This is great. The next one, if a local government was successful for a Plan H grant in 2025, can they still apply for the 2026 age-friendly grants?
Yes, there are 2 different funding streams. So if you've received something for Plan H, it wouldn't necessarily apply to whether or not you'd be eligible for AFC.
Perfect. Thank you. Okay, and would a park or outdoor equipment be eligible that would benefit seniors or underprivileged communities? Lo, do you want, or Alyssa, go for it.
Whichever one, yeah, I'll take this one. Yes, a park could, or like a park bench or stuff for a park could be part. I would consider that more of a stream 2 of a project. But please keep in mind that we only are allowed to have 40% of the grant funding that you get towards capital costs. So you can put it towards maybe planning where the benches go or the development of products around the capital cost that you want to implement. But that would be a really good project as long as well as that initiative has been put into a plan that you want to use. So the plan that you have, you're like, oh, this isn't something that we want to do. We want to put park benches for accessibility and things like that. And you take that project from a plan that works out great for stream 2, and you can use 40% of those capital costs. So hopefully that clears that up for you.
And I think this next comment question kind of is a good sort of leeway into that previous question, but a comment in here, we identified an action in a previously conducted age-friendly assessment and plan, which involves tangible, so built improvements to parks. Does that sound like something that may be eligible for stream 2? So for example, paying a design consultant or funding the build. So do you want to just add a little bit more speaking to that example, please, Alyssa?
Sure. So that is, you can still use one of those plans, but it has to be from your local government or in municipality. It can't be another municipality's plan that's nearby. It has to be from your municipality or local government. Also, the plan should be no older than 10 years old. Usually if 8, you will make exceptions for 8 or around there, but usually around the 8 or over 5-year mark, we do accept applications to redo a new age-friendly plan. So nothing over 10 years old, and it has to be from your either local government or Indigenous government.
Perfect. Thanks, Alyssa. Okay, so the next couple of questions again are kind of more on the grant policy end of things. So I'll ask Lo to speak to these, but the first one here, so are new applicants prioritized over those who have been funded by BC Healthy Communities previously?
Yeah, so that is something that we do take into consideration. So we do look to try to fund new communities we haven't funded in the past. And we also are looking for, or tend to try to fund more rural and remote communities as well. So we're looking at people that may not always have the capacity to apply for some of those larger grants. So yeah, new applicants tend to be prioritized over those who have been funded previously. It is something that we take into consideration during adjudication.
And just another comment in here for a bit of clarity as well, Laura. So we are a nonprofit providing services and programs for older adults living in Vancouver's West End. Our community is not Indigenous oriented. Can we apply anyways?
Yes. Well, if you're a nonprofit, you need to partner with a local or Indigenous government. So the local or Indigenous government needs to be the one who's completing the application form, and they can list you as a partner who is leading on some of the project activities. So we highly advise that you connect with your local or Indigenous government to complete the application.
Perfect. Thank you. And Stephanie's also adding to the chat because there's a couple comments in here as well too. So just speaking to a comment, so can we send you our reports that we think might possibly comply to the stream 1 so that we can apply for stream 2? And similar comment in the Q&A section as well is to qualify for a stream 2, do we need to have done an official BC Healthy Communities age-friendly assessment? Or can we show proof we've engaged in age-friendly planning through other municipality-led initiatives, such as housing needs assessments and local seniors group facilitation?
Yeah, so it doesn't have to be a age-friendly plan that was completed through our funding. It still needs to be an age-friendly plan or assessment, or that's generally what we would like to see. You can definitely send me those reports and I'll review them with Alyssa, and we'll get back to you on whether or not that is something that we consider an age-friendly plan and that it's okay for you to apply for the Stream 2 projects grant.
Thanks, Lo. Yeah. And so if any folks have those kind of outstanding questions that they need a bit of clarity, if they're eligible to apply for stream 2, or if they've done the plans, or what we need to comply with that, please do reach out to us, and Laura or Alyssa will be able to support that and point you in the right direction if you're ready for a stream 2, or if maybe you might want to consider doing an update through a stream 1 project or something like that for this year. So And again, there's been some comments in the chat here about some links to the previously funded grants for inspiration. And so both Stephanie and Alyssa have popped a couple of those links and examples in there. But when we send out that follow-up email, we will be sure to also include some of those links to our past news releases, who do which will link to the previously funded grants to give you some ideas of what those examples were, titles, where those communities were, and so on and so forth. Okay. Can we have a few examples of what some eligible costs are?
Alyssa, can I let you answer that one?
Sure. So costs, I'm maybe assuming I'm thinking budget template. So I'm going to go in this direction. So if this is not what you're maybe the answer you're looking for, please just pop another question in the chat. But usually our costs are how our budgets, or we like to see our funds go towards the project. This can be varied, but some costs would be like implementation for working groups. So you can also put food on there, because what brings people to hear about what they want in their community? Food. That is allowed. Paper costs, or design to make pamphlets, or to design your community plan. That is acceptable. We also do allow, because we do recognize in local and smaller municipalities that they may need to hire out. So we do allow, in some circumstances, contractors, or not, consultants. Yeah, thank you, to be on there as well. Some other examples, if you do need some things, that's why we do allow about 40% of capital. If part of your plan is to do projects, there was a Smithers, for an example, Smithers redid their walking signs, or like for their walking trails, they redid their signs. So that meant that their budget looked like making the signs, designing them, taking the time to do that. And then about 40% or under that went to actually printing the signs and making new ones. So that's kind of an example of how we do it for projects, but then also for the plans and the background of some of that. So I hope that can answer your question.
Perfect, thank you. And another follow-up question, which has been in alignment with some of the previous ones, but just I think a bit of clarity around what community plan requirements there are. This community on Cortez Island has a local economic plan and a vital signs report created by local nonprofits. Does this plan need to be government stamped community plan? So again, I think that's something too where reaching out to Laura or Alyssa, have a look over that, get a bit of clarity, and something that we can help to support from there, what the appropriate next steps may be.
Yep.
Okay, I'm scanning through at this point, I think we have managed.
I think there was one question from Susan. Can you please clarify if a letter from a CAO meets requirement, or is a council resolution required? We are an Indigenous government. So I can speak to that quickly. It can be either or. So it can be a letter from your CAO, or it can be a council resolution. We just need one of them, at least.
I would also just like to clarify too, for the council resolutions, we are in January, or actually, no, sorry, we're in February now. But what I mean to say is, if you have started planning with your council that you wanted to do an age-friendly project before this grant came out, and you had that on your council resolution in December, and it says, this local municipality or Indigenous government wants to work on an age-friendly plan, and they have done that recently, and it says in your council resolution an age-friendly plan or an age-friendly initiative, you are allowed to count that as a resolution for this grant as well.
Great, thank you. Okay. I've got another one in here from just now. So, building on a previous question and answer, if we have a municipal plan slash assessment that is over 10 years old, can we apply to Grant Stream 1 to develop a new plan? And would we also have to do another assessment? Would this impact would this impact the materials or that need to be prepared when we submit for Stream 1?
So yes, if a plan is over 10 years old, you would need to apply for Stream 1. Two, it doesn't have to be a full new plan. It can be something that is more focused. So an example that we had is it can be an emergency preparedness age-friendly plan. So it can be more focused. It doesn't have to be a completely new age-friendly plan. It can be like the broad plan. It can be something that is more focused.
Or I would just like to add to that as well. If you have a previous assessment or a plan done from 10 years ago, you can build on that. So you can make this plan, your new one, being like, this is what we've done in the past 10 years, and this is what you want to go forward. You can also bring in the other work that you have done within those 2 years to guide where you're going with your plan. You can build on top of them and go forward, or you can take a specific aspect of it and make a plan and go narrower if you would like. I would just mention too, for any of those thinking about doing a narrower plan, that is totally welcomed. However, if you want to do a project, the project has to be based off that plan. So if your plan is specifically on emergency preparedness and you want to apply for a project on our next grant stream, your project would have to come from your emergency preparedness plan or be mentioned in that plan. But there's a bunch of different ways that you can go about this for sure.
Right. And again, we're on a really similar theme here. So what does our age-friendly plan or assessment need to have in order to be eligible for Stream 2?
Alyssa, do you want to take that one?
Yes. So you need to have a plan done by your municipality or your local government or Indigenous local government of an age-friendly. Yes, we like to see maybe an overall age-friendly plan looking over the 8 domains that I had talked about previously in the presentation. However, that's unique and different to each community. So you can have an age-friendly plan that's accessibility or something like that, but it needs to be within the past 10 years, and it needs to be from your own government to be eligible for Stream 2.
Thank you. Yeah. And again, if there's some questions or need for clarity and everything, please don't hesitate to reach out. And that's something that we'll be able to work with you and your community in looking at what has been included in that previous age-friendly plan or assessment, and if there's anything else that may be needed in order to be considered eligible for Stream 2. Great. Okay, so actually we haven't had a question like this one before, but the comment in here is, can you speak to your internal decision-making processes for BC Healthy Communities in vetting and choosing applicants? So maybe at a bit of a high level low, do you want to talk a bit about our adjudication process?
Yeah.
Good question.
So yeah, it is a good question. So I kind of mentioned a few of these in my application tips earlier on in the presentation, but things that we're looking at are equity. So how are you looking to make your age-friendly community accessible to everyone, especially underrepresented groups? Looking at partnerships, how you're connected in your community, how you're going to work together, sustainability, capacity, so that you're working, that the work that we're funding is something that can be sustainable over a period of time. Things we also look at are, we look at all the applications that come in. So we're looking at geographic regions, and I previously mentioned this as well, but we look to try to fund new applicants and rural and remote communities.
And Indigenous communities.
And Indigenous communities.
Thanks, Lo. Great. Yeah, so there are a number of factors that we really look at when going through this process, and it's a very rigorous process that the team undertakes. We get ourselves locked into a room for a good few days and spent a lot of time reading all of the applications thoroughly before, taking our notes and coming together to discuss. So we enjoy the process. It's a ton of work for that component of it, but just know that the time that you're spending on submitting these applications, we are reviewing all of it, and we appreciate all of the effort and work that goes into this, whether you are a successful applicant or not. We recognize that this really is a quite a lot of work and an undertaking for everybody involved. So we thank you for that. Another comment in the chat here is we have a community health plan less than 5 years old, and building on this, would that be okay to submit a Stream 2 application?
Do you want me?
So
Okay, I'll take this slow. Yes, if you have a community health plan that's less than 5 years and it has an age-friendly component or something that you want to work with older adults, that's totally acceptable. One thing I would actually have you consider, I'm not sure your background or how you're approaching this, but you could actually also apply for a Stream 1 to put a whole age-friendly lens on that community health plan if you would like. That is one option that you could do. Or it depends on what your action and what you really want to do for your community. Or you could, if your community health plan has older adults included and some initiatives that you would like to take action on right now, you could also apply for a Stream 2 application. But depending on the situation, you could also apply for a Stream 1 to have an age-friendly lens over your community health plan. So maybe two options there for you. And we can please reach out to us if you'd like help or to clarify.
perfect. Thanks, Alyssa. And just speaking to another one of the comments in here, yes, this presentation will be available afterwards. We are recording the session and it will be posted on the BC Healthy Communities website, as well as through our YouTube page. And the part that Alyssa was speaking about with the domains of the age-friendly plan, that is included in the beginning of the presentation, but it is also available on our website, and that is the World Health Organization 8 domains of what an age-friendly community is, just for reference there. So that's great. And then a few more questions. This is great. We rolled through our presentation relatively quickly, but we're having really great dialogue here afterwards. So what size do you consider rural and remote for communities? So this is, yeah.
Yeah, I can speak to that. We look at population size and then also where a community is located. I can't tell you the number right off the top of my head, but we do look at like a census record and look at the population size, and that's how we kind of, it's included in our adjudication process.
Thanks, Lo. Another comment in here, our community is considering an age-friendly business initiative. Are you aware of any toolkits for this type of work?
That is a really good question, and I'd be more curious by an AFC business initiative. We have had some plans like this in the past, but I don't know if I have any toolkits off the top of my head, but if you contact us outside of our webinar here, we could definitely do some research and define something for you.
Perfect. Would Summerland or Penticton count as rural remote?
I don't think Penticton would. I'm not sure if
Yeah.
Summerland off the top of my head.
I think Summerland would. I agree. I'm not sure if Penticton would, but we have done a number of projects with Penticton in the past too. Okay, couple more here. So we have a comprehensive community plan that has quite a focus on community elders. As you're talking about a community health plan, could this also count so that they could apply for Stream 2?
I think kind of going off what Alyssa said, it could possibly be considered enough of an age-friendly plan to apply for Stream 2. We definitely encourage you to reach out to us to discuss that.
Thank you. Yeah. And again, I think that's, just really wanting to emphasize like we're here. We've got a number of weeks here still too that we're available to support, answer questions. If you'd like to have some of those meetings with any of the team members to look at some of those outstanding reports or questions or some of those ideas or plans and how you might be able to orientate your idea or program or policies to align really well with this work, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We're happy to chat and to support that. We have a fantastic team here at BC Healthy Communities with all sorts of different expertise in different areas too. So if it's not, Laura or Alyssa, you might be hearing from one of our other team members who's well situated to be able to support you with your grants applications and any questions there too. So I believe we have covered all of the comments and questions at this point. And thank you, Stephanie has just popped again in Laura's email address to the grants at bchealthycommunities.ca. As we said, we will make sure that we send out these links, the resources, some of the other pieces that we've referenced in the chat here along the way, including some of the past news releases with the successful candidates. There will be a survey circulated to everybody. So a quick reminder, if you could please take just a few minutes to complete that survey. It's not onerous. It just really helps us to understand if we are providing you with the information that you need, and if there's anything that we may have missed or be able to improve on for future engagement sessions. So once again, I would like to thank you all very much for joining us today. And Alyssa and Laura, I'll let you guys sign off as well too.
Yeah,
thank you so much.
That was perfectly in unison. Perfect. Great. Thanks, everybody. Take care, and we'll connect soon.